Right now, our app, deepakchopra.com, is offering a course on awakening, which takes at least 6 months to do. 21-day meditation challenge on awakening, at the moment free of charge, and detailed exploration of everything, including the vibhutis, the 8 limbs of yoga, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. And I encourage you to go to deepakchopra.com and check out these courses. But today I wanted to share just 3 components of awakening. Okay. Because most people think of spiritual awakening as a single mysterious event. But in lived experience, awakening often has those 3 distinct components, and they unfold together. They are transcendence, spontaneous higher values, loss of the fear of death. Those are the 3 most important ones. And in this video, I want to walk you through each of these very simply, clearly, and in a way you can recognize in your own life. So the first component of awakening is transcendence. By transcendence, I don't mean floating above your life or escaping your problems. I mean a radical shift in your sense of who am I. So ordinarily, we experience ourselves as a separate person. I'm this body, this mind, this story, moving through a world of other people and other things. In moments of awakening, that center of identity shifts. There's a direct non-conceptual recognition. I am the awareness in which this body and this mind are appearing. I'm the field of consciousness in which this entire moment is arising. The personal me doesn't necessarily vanish, but it's seen as a kind of a costume, a persona, which is a mask. Useful in daily life, yet not the deepest truth of what you are. A simple way to sense this yourself is to notice that everything you experience, sensations, thoughts, emotions, even your spiritual ideas, appears and disappears in awareness. But the awareness is steady, quietly present, like an open sky. We can just call it presence. Transcendence is the recognition. I am the open sky, that open sky, not just the passing weather. Okay? So the open sky is presence itself. The second component of awakening is the spontaneous arising or what we might call Platonic values, as in Plato: empathy, compassion, joy, love, and equanimity. These are not moral rules you have to force yourself to live up to. They're more like qualities that naturally shine through your identity. Why? Because your identity is no longer contracted around a separate me. When you're identified as a separate self, life is organized around defense and acquisition. How do I protect myself? How do I get what I want? When you awaken as awareness itself, that protective shell softens. You begin to feel very directly that others are not truly other. The other is your own self in a different uniform or disguise. They are expressions of the same consciousness you are. From that recognition, empathy becomes effortless. You don't have to try to care. You simply feel connected. Compassion arises as a natural response to suffering, just as you would tend to your own injured hand. Joy is less about good things happening to me and more about the simple fact of being alive, aware, and open. Love is no longer a personal emotion. It feels more like the very substance of reality, an underlying warmth, a sense of belonging. And equanimity shows up as inner stability. Experience continues to change, but you're less thrown around by every wave. From the outside, it may look like you've become a better person. Maybe. From the inside, it feels like something truer and more natural has begun to live through you. The third component, of course, is even more interesting, is a profound softening and often a disappearance of the fear of death. This doesn't mean you suddenly want to die or that your body won't react to danger, but the deep existential terror when this body ends, I, in the deeper sense, will be annihilated, begins to lose its hold. Why? Because once you have recognized yourself as awareness itself, it becomes clear that what you truly are is not limited to a particular body mind. The body is born, it changes, and eventually dies. Thoughts and emotions come and go. But the awareness in which all of that is happening has no obvious beginning and no obvious end in your direct experience. So, from that vantage point, death looks less like a total extinction and more like a change of form. You might still feel sadness about losing loved ones or about your own ending, but underneath there's a quiet trust, a sense that life does not stop with any single chapter. For many people, this shift happens gradually. The fear doesn't vanish overnight, but it loosens. You find yourself less preoccupied with how long you will live and more interested in how deeply you will live. Health span instead of lifespan. How fully you will love, serve, and awaken in the time you have. So let's bring it together. A spiritual awakening can be understood as having three core components. Transcendence, a shift from I am the separate self to I am the awareness in which all of this is happening. Spontaneous higher values, empathy, compassion, joy, love, and equanimity naturally emerging as expressions of that recognition. And three, loss of fear of death, a deep relaxation around mortality as the identification with the body mind softens. These three are not separate events. They are facets of one movement, consciousness remembering itself. You don't need to force any of them. Your role is to become available, to be curious, to notice awareness here and now, and to allow your life to be gently reoriented around the deeper truth of who you are. As you do, you may find that transcendence, love, and fearlessness are not distant spiritual goals. They are the natural fragrance of your own being when it is no longer confined by the story of me, the skin encapsulated ego dragging a flesh and bones character and meeting with resistance. There's flow. There's no resistance to existence. And flow ultimately leads to awakening. Aham Brahmasmi.